This is WFYI, Indianapolis.
Acquisition and local broadcast of sneak previews are made possible in part by a grant from Hook Drugs.
Tell me what?
2 microscopic capsules lodged in your arteries. They're already starting to dissolve. In 22 hours, the cores will completely dissolve. Inside the cores are a heat-sensing charge. Not a large explosive, about the size of a pinhead. Just big enough to open up both your arteries. I'd say you'd be dead in 10 or 15 seconds.
Come on now.
They're protected by the cores. 15 minutes before the last hour's up, we can neutralize the charge with X-rays.
That's Kurt Russell finding out that Lee Van Cleef has tricked him into rescuing the President of the United States in Escape from New York, one of 5 new movies we'll be reviewing on Sneak Previews. Across the aisle from me, Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And this is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. In addition to Escape from New York, we'll also review a strange and brilliant documentary named Gates of Heaven, also the new Disney animated feature, The Fox and the Hound, an action thriller named Force 5, and now Gene starts with On the Right Track.
It's been a remarkably entertaining summer for movies. An example of that is the first movie made by the diminutive TV star Gary Coleman from The Different Stroke Show. On the Right Track, his movie is an enjoyable and wise little comedy about a young orphan who hates the street life of the city, so he lives below ground level in a luggage locker in a train station. After Coleman is discovered there, he is hassled and chased by a bunch of do-gooders who want to place him in a foster home.
Wait a minute, look. I'll make you a deal. Meet me at Gino's cellar at 3 o'clock, and you didn't find the kid.
I can give you today's triple, dancing golf, fish, dream, and latest song. You can still make the track.
Yeah. Why don't we run a race to the 14th Street shelter? Come on, it's post time. Let's go.
The reference there to the racetrack concerns young Lester's ability to pick winners. I'm a sucker for movies about kids who can pick winners at the racetrack. Anyway, Lester tries to hang on to his locker in the train station by helping out the city, which is having serious financial problems. He agrees to make bets for the city at the racetrack, and after Lester has won $1 million, the mayor, played by Norman Fell, holds a Lester Day rally.
Cue, Mr. Mayor, drop the Drake!
Has there ever been a time in history when a 10-year-old orphan has given $1 million to our city? A city which, well, let's just say, hasn't been too kind to him. We love Lester.
This check will make this whole city like Union Station. It gets cleaned every day, the roof don't leak, and the toilets work.
Now, the story gets needlessly complicated at the end, but before that, I was won over to On the Right Track. Gary Coleman is a pleasing personality here. He's not always a smart aleck like he is so often on his TV show. And the film has a surprisingly gentle touch as we witness a child's view of an often selfish and rude American city. So I liked On the Right Track a lot.
I liked it, but not enough to recommend it. But I did like Gary Coleman a whole lot. And you know, sometimes in the movies, I really get uptight about little kids because they're so cute, so lovable, so squeaky clean and perfect. You want to tweak their little noses. You know, you can't stand them. They're insufferable. But Gary Coleman, right, punch him out. Gary Coleman isn't like that, at least. In the scene with the mayor, for example, it looked as if he were almost about to ask for a patronage job.
Right, he's a sharp
He's got
kid.
a real edge to him, and I like that about the film.
So why are you not recommending it?
So why didn't I like it? Well, the first hour of the film, I was thinking, this is unusually good. This is surprisingly good. And then it got all junked up with all kinds of subplots and chases, and the mafia comes in, and extra characters are introduced. Finally, it just turns into a complete mess, and I just lost interest.
Well, the thing that I felt the same thing, and I said that too. The ending is too complicated. But I think that one thing you haven't mentioned that makes me recommend the film is that it has real heart to it. It does have an attitude about the city and how a young kid, a pure child, can view things in a much more fresh, honest way and can offer solutions. I know that sounds very serious for a summer movie, but I felt that the film had that quality, and there was a richness to the film that caught me totally by surprise.
Well, there's one thing for sure. This is not just a dumb little throwaway kiddie picture.
We can agree on
I
that.
think it's a close miss. You think it's a win, okay?
Yes.
Okay. Let's move on to a movie now that I think is one of the most brilliant, weird, and unusual American documentary films I've seen in a long time. It's called Gates of Heaven, and that's not to be confused, by the way, with the box office bomb Heaven's Gate. This is a different film, Gates of Heaven. It's about 2 pet cemeteries in Southern California, but don't leap to the wrong impression. You might expect a movie about pet cemeteries to be cynical, satirical, going for cheap laughs, but this film doesn't quite do that. Instead, it's a real slice of life with its insights into some individual characters, their personal obsessions with cats and dogs, with loneliness and death, with the pet owner's firm belief in an animal afterlife, and with the cemetery owner's firm belief in the American dream of wealth and success. Now, these scenes introduce 2 of the key characters in the film. First, you're going to see the California patriarch, who is owner of the Bubbling Well Pet Memorial Park, and he talks about the various priced burial gardens he has for pets. Then you'll see his son, who believes that positive mental attitude is going to make him happy in life. Now watch how the director frames these people to show their isolation and then just lets them talk. First, we see the father.
The names of our gardens were created by words that seem to depict the qualities of pets, like our garden of companionship. A pet is a companion. A garden of devotion. Almost all pets are devoted to their masters. The garden of the gentle giants, again, is descriptive. Kitty Curve. The reserve garden is set aside and reserved for smaller pets. The garden of memory is set aside because it will bring happy memories in the future, we hope.
When I'd hire a guy, I'd bring him into my office. And I'd specifically design my office so that I could display the maximum trophies on walls and stuff. And I'd bring this guy in who had probably been making maybe $9,000 a year or less. And I'd bring him into this office with nice furniture, and he'd see these trophies, and geez, they were taken away. And it's kind of like flaunting it, I guess. And to hire him, all I did was just tell stories about what each trophy meant to me and what it could mean to him, and if he'd like to increase his income and, his future.
Well, we created the Garden of Honor. And in this garden, we will bury a seeing-eye dog or a police dog killed in line of duty at no cost if it's killed in the line of duty. And for anybody else who wants to share this garden, then we created a price which amounts to more than any other garden that we have.
I think it's real important, I guess, that the dogs be killed in the line of duty. In other words, pulling somebody out of the burning building, not just run over by the fire truck, right? This movie creates amazing paradoxes. For example, that success-oriented son that we just saw, we learn in the movie that he ranks third in the family hierarchy, below his father, below his guitar-playing hippie younger brother. For all of his trophies, for all of his positive mental attitude, his job is to pick up the dead animals, thaw them out, comb them, and prepare them for burial. This film really listens to people like that, listens to them talk about their deepest feelings. Now, here are two people explaining why they buried their pet dog.
I think we'll all be together again. I think we're going to live pretty much just like we do here. And I want to be able to find my pets. I don't want them dug up and scattered all over creation. I want them right where I know where they are, where it's like in the hunting fields like they've had in this life. And I believe that we'll all be reunited. I really do. I believe that from the bottom of my heart.
She got me believing that now. I never believed in it, but...
Before, but I still do. Because after all, there's your dog. Your dog's dead. But where's the thing that made it move? It had to be something, didn't it? There's your spirit. There it is. I might be dead, but I'm not moving. And you can't put that back in them. That I can take the body where it'll be with it and lay it to rest. For a beautiful thing, and it can rest there or be right round there. It'll stay close. It'll stay where he is, and I'll find it again. I really will. They'll be with us.
You know, it's funny how you pick up subliminal things in movies like this. Looking at that couple, I don't know how I got this feeling, but I have the feeling that they're deeply in love with each other. And I don't know where that came from.
I agree with you. I had the same reaction.
That's strange?
Yeah.
Although Gates of Heaven ostensibly claims to be about pet cemeteries and the people connected with them, I think it's really about loneliness. The people in this film talk about their pets as if they were people, but we get the feeling that maybe a lot of the people in this movie aren't as well cared for as their pets. The movie's director, Errol Morris, seems to be making a documentary about dead animals, but when we leave the theater, we realize we've seen an unforgettable and haunting portrait of people. People who are touchingly loyal to pets that may have been, in many of these cases, literally man's best friend.
Well, I agree with you completely. I think it's a superb film. I am going to like every movie on this show. And yet, I must say that you can take the other four, and together they don't equal the beauty, the poetry, the directorial imagination, even with framing people alone. That takes imagination and confidence, believing in what these people are going to say to show them this way. I think it's a brilliant film.
I'm completely in agreement with you about that. I would like to have a print of this film and see it again and again. It is a masterpiece.
I wrote for and got the script.
You did?
Okay, yes, from the director. Now, let me tell you something. I started out laughing at some of the people. When that guy says, you have to be charged to get into the special burial ground of honor, I think that's funny, and I was laughing at that. Later on, the film works a very kind of special magic. I think what I began to realize that these people, doing whatever they want to do, thinking whatever they want, they're all the same as all of us. All they want to do is get a fix on something they can believe in, so they can justify their own life. One guy puts it on business success. Another guy talks about maximum trophies, the son there. These people talk about an afterlife for their pet, and quite honestly, I'm sure they're thinking for themselves, too. That's all they're doing, being human, trying to believe in something that's real.
That's the nice thing about this film. They could have made the entire film a series of shots at cheap, easy targets. And it's not that way. When we laugh in this film, we're laughing at ourselves because this film has its finger on human nature.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the film, you don't laugh at these people, you love them because you can understand them.
It's really very well done. Okay. Disney Studios has been struggling for more than a decade, I think, to make a good movie. In that time, they've made only a couple, but I think they've done it again with our next film, The Fox and the Hound, a sweet and old-fashioned Disney cartoon feature that tells the story of an unlikely friendship between a small hound dog and a baby fox. They're as cute as Disney can be when they meet and become friends.
What you smelling? I'm on the trail of something. Trail of what? I don't know yet. Why, it's you. What do you do that for? We're supposed to do that when we find what we've been tracking. I'm a fox. My name's Todd. What's your name, kid? Mine's Copper. I'm a hound dog. Gee, I bet you'd be good playing hide and seek. You want to try it, Topper? Can I use my nose? Sure. Okay, now go ahead and close your eyes and count. 1, 2, 3. No, Copper, you can't peek. Oh. Now start again. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
My. Look at that. A fox and a hound playing together.
That's a very sweet scene, but the film gets a lot rougher later on after the fox and hound grow up and do battle with a huge and vicious grizzly bear in a scene that will probably scare today's kids, much like children were scared years ago with those trees going after and attacking Snow White. A lot of people, myself included, have been wondering why Disney hasn't been able to make films like they used to. Well, now we know they haven't tried until now, I think, until The Fox and the Hound, which is most entertaining.
I thought it was entertaining, too. I agree with you. I think you were a little bit hard on The Rescuers, which you didn't mention, but that was a movie made in 1977 by the Disney people, and that was a good animated picture, too. I think it's probably worth mentioning that this film, Fox and the Hound, is the first animated film from Disney by their new generation of animators, and The Rescuers was the last film by the guys that started out with Walt himself, and this new crowd seems to be carrying on in the old tradition. This is a film that is funny, it's moving, it's got good music in it, and it's fun to watch.
I love that bear. The bear literally fills about 75% of the screen image when it starts moving, and it's beautiful shapes and very powerful stuff. So I was pleased, finally.
Good film. Next, we have an ambitious adventure movie named Escape from New York, made by John Carpenter, the talented young director of Halloween, which is one of the best American thrillers of the last few years. Escape from New York is set in the future, in the year 1997. All of Manhattan Island has been turned into a federal maximum security prison, and a wall has been built all the way around it. The area inside is ruled by the criminal gangs, and then disaster strikes. The president's plane, Air Force One, is hijacked and crash lands in the middle of Manhattan, and the gangs take the president as hostage. In this scene, the police commissioner, played by Lee Van Cleef, offers a full pardon to a violent, newly arrived prisoner if he can bring the president out alive.
S.D. Pliskin, American, Lieutenant, Special Forces Unit Black Light. 2 Purple Hearts, Leningrad and Siberia. Youngest man to be decorated by the president. He robbed the Federal Reserve Depository. Life sentence, New York Maximum Security Penitentiary. I'm ready to kick your ass out of the world, war hero.
Who are you?
Hauk, police commissioner.
Why are we talking?
I have a deal for you. You receive full pardon for every criminal action you've committed in the United States. It was an accident. About an hour ago, a small jet went down inside New York City. The president was on board.
President of what?
That's not funny, Pliskin. You go in, find the president, bring him out in 24 hours, and you're a free man.
24 hours, huh?
I'm making you an offer.
I'll think about it.
No time. Give me an answer.
Get a new president.
Is that your answer?
I guess I go in one way or the other. Doesn't mean to me. Give me the paper.
When you come out?
Before.
I told you I wasn't a fool, Pliskin.
Call me Snake.
Lee Van Cleef is a legendary veteran of spaghetti westerns, and that was Kurt Russell as Snake Plissken. You may remember him from several Disney pictures, or he played Elvis on television. Russell sneaks into Manhattan and finds a violent world ruled by Isaac Hayes. Among the other prisoners are Adrian Barbeau and Ernest Borgnine. He plays the last of the New York cabbies, still looking for a ride in the middle of total anarchy. In this scene, Borgnine and Russell go to meet Barbeau, who may be able to lead them to the president.
Who is it?
It's me,
Who's me?
Cabby.
What do you want?
Somebody wants to see Brain. It's important.
Go away, cabby.
You know it's Snake. Snake Plissken.
You're Pliskin?
He wants to see Brain.
Why?
I want to meet the Duke.
It's an appealing idea that even as a prison society, New York would still have cab drivers. There are a lot of good things in Escape from New York. The idea is good, so is the real craftsmanship of the director, John Carpenter. But I wish the situation had been explored a little more completely. I wanted to know more about that strange prisoner society on Manhattan Island. I wish the characters hadn't been played as caricatures and exaggerations. The movie turned into more of an action cartoon than a real thriller, and that's too bad.
Well, we have a big disagreement because I like the picture. I agree with you. It is a cartoon. I thought it always was intended to be, and I enjoyed it as such. The thing that bugged me is what you did mention, which is that I think they blew an opportunity by not giving us more about the prison society in Manhattan. I don't know why they didn't do that and instead gave us Adrienne Barbeau walking around half naked. I think she's a very poor actress. But the film was very entertaining. I liked it as this comic book hero with, you know, Kurt Russell doing a great imitation, I thought, of Clint Eastwood. I thought it was very much fun.
I'm not sure that was Kurt Russell's intention. I didn't think the film was that entertaining. I thought it turned into a series of chases, like chases we've seen before. And another thing, a lot of American movies in the last couple of years even have had trouble with endings. They don't know how to handle the last 15 minutes, and this movie certainly doesn't. The ending is very off-key and very disappointing.
Well, we disagree, because I thought the ending was cute and made a little tiny point. All right, now let's see. I've liked the Gary Coleman movie, a Walt Disney movie. Why stop? A Kung Fu adventure film now, Force 5, which is about 71% as entertaining as The Magnificent Seven, because it's 5/7 of the same story. This time, a collection of Kung Fu experts are brought together to try to liberate a United States senator's daughter who is living in a Guyana-like religious commune. In this scene, the group's Kung Fu organizer checks in with an old friend.
Okay. Hey, it's me.
Of course it's you.
That elbow in the stomach. That was lucky.
Like hell it was.
When did you figure it was me?
Well, the hairstyle's different, but I always know it's you. I still remember New Year's in Miami. 2 years.
We've been wasteful.
You were testing me, weren't you? You thought I lost my stuff?
That was dumb of you.
I heard you'd contacted some of the team. I figured you'd show up.
What I need is a woman who can think and fight and chew gum at the same time.
And you're the boss?
That's it.
Well, I won't say sir.
This twosome hooks up with 3 other Kung Fu experts, and they storm the religious commune. For a change, the bad guys are in white. Force 5 is just a lot of fun, and that's precisely what makes the film so entertaining. It has a sense of humor about itself. In fact, there are lots of throwaway funny gags in the picture, as well as the standard foot-in-the-face action. One of the things that I enjoyed was at one time somebody goes after somebody with a buzzsaw successfully, and they say, "Thank God for Black & Decker." It's a cute little film.
Gene, frankly, I can think of a lot of other uses for a chainsaw in this movie. For example, destroying the original print. This movie is a total dog. It's awful. I can't believe
Roger,
you like
I don't think you gave this film a chance. It is a very cute little action picture.
I've seen this plot a million times before. 5 friends get together and they go against the fortress. The lead actor, this guy named Joe Louis, doesn't have the charisma of the great kung fu stars like Bruce Lee.
I thought the film writing was very funny.
I didn't think so. I didn't think that the writing was funny. The characters were not original. The kung fu action wasn't very good. Every time they kick each other in the jaw there, it sounds like a whip being snapped or a Naugahyde couch being hit with a ping pong paddle.
It always does, in every one of these pictures.
This movie is a real dog of the week.
Well, now here come 2 authentic dogs of the week, because it's Spot the Wonder Dog, time for the week's worst movies, dogs of the week.
Well, Gene, my dog this week is Dirt. That's the title. And it looks like one of those TV commercials for one of those fast-talking drag strip ads. You know how they go. Sunday, US 40 drag strip. See, Arnie the Farmer Sedgwick in his $200 International Harvester with $4,000 tires. See, men racing through the desert sand while breathing filtered air. See, 2 brothers in a blood feud to see who can drive a 4-wheel Jeep to the top of a muddy hill. Sunday. See, the film narrator, an old coot, drink beer while talking about the race. See, Parnelli Jones wipe the grease off a wrench. See, cars get stuck in the mud. In fact, see anything before you see this movie. And everything I mentioned is in the film.
Well, that's why I won't see it, okay? My dog is Demonoid, and would you believe this is the 2nd movie this year I've seen about a disembodied hand that crawls around and strangles people. The hand in the film is the devil's hand, and it is resentful of greedy people who tried to steal ancient buried treasures. The entire film is a series of episodes with Samantha Eggar and Stuart Whitman being attacked by this wicked left hand. It all gets very silly and ultimately disappointing at the end when we never find out what happens to the hand. I have a theory, though. I'd like to think that the hand from Demonoid, the left hand, and the hand from that other thriller, called The Hand, they 2 got together, shook hands, and came out fighting.
So much for the dogs. Now let's take another look at the main movies on this program. On the right track is the comedy starring pint-sized Gary Coleman. We both like little Gary, and Gene thought the movie was a bright and original comedy, but I felt a good idea got too cluttered and crowded, so I vote no. 2 big yes votes, though, for The Gates of Heaven, the best movie on this program. The brilliant and original documentary about human loneliness as reflected in the stories of 2 California pet cemeteries. We vote yes. We suggest you look for this film in an art theater or your local film society. 2 more yes votes for The Fox and the Hound, the latest animated feature from Walt Disney. We liked its animation and its serious message. We split on Escape from New York. Gene thought it was an exciting thriller. I felt the story became too much of a caricature of itself. And we also split on Force 5. Gene votes yes and thought it was an exciting kung fu romp. I feel this film was no better than the other kung fu movies which have preceded it. And by the way, 2 weeks ago on Sneak Previews, while reviewing Beyond Evil, one of the dogs of the week starring John Saxon, I mistakenly said that Saxon was our new ambassador to Mexico. Well, actually, of course, John Gavin is our ambassador to Mexico, and he was not in Beyond Evil. So apologies to John Gavin, John Saxon, and Mexico.
That's it for this week. Next time on Sneak Previews, we'll take a look at Endless Love, a drama about teenage romantic obsession starring Brooke Shields, Blowout, a thriller with John Travolta on the trail of a political murder, and Zorro the Gay Blade, a new comedy starring George Hamilton. Until then, we'll see you at the movies.
Watch the pageantry and spectacle of the royal wedding next Wednesday night beginning at 7 on Channel 20. Right now, stay tuned as Nova examines why the dinosaur disappeared.
Funding for Sneak Previews was provided by this station and by other public television stations.